好緊張，好耐冇拍過片，真係好耐冇拍過片。Today I want to talk about BRP Stack. It is probably the ultimate web framework that you ever need. It consists of Bun, React, and Payload. I know it because I recently started developing a learning management system which is called Paideia. I will put the link below. And during the development, I analyze a lot of technology and then balance the trade-off. I eventually come with this BRP stack, and the outcome is much better than I thought because the server can be compiled into cross-platform single binary. I can support Windows, support Mac, support Linux in different formats. Underlying architecture, it can handle server rendering, it can handle client-side rendering, reactivity through React. In Paideia, it is using React router, but you can use other kind of router. It's just that React router, I like this project. I love it so much. So that's why I choose it for Paideia. For Bun, I also use a framework built on top of it called Elysia. So it just handle Open API and MCP so well. By using React, it automatically gives me a massive mature UI ecosystem. By using React Router, it also comes with a type-safe client-server action. By using Payload, I automatically have the type-safe database API because it is using Drizzle under the hood. It handles all the database schema generation. It also have S3 support. It handles all the authentications. It also have different plugins like Stripe so that it can handle authentication with like external providers as well. By using Payload, I also have access to like fine-grained access control. In Payload, it builds in the cron job queue, the workflow, and I also use Bun with Commander to achieve the CLI mode in just one single binary. I built the project and then just send it to other people and they can deploy it in just 2 seconds. So I believe this is the ultimate stack that I'm looking for. I really want to share this to the ecosystem and share with other people as well and see what you think. I just want to give my project a shout out. I developed it in under 30 days just by myself. It is a modern learning management system which target medium-sized to large-size educational organization such as university or secondary school. It exactly used the BRP stack that I'm talking about. If you want to know more about the BRP stack, I believe I'm the only one on GitHub who used this stack. So you can treat this as a demo project and then ask the deep wiki anything. It is up to date. You see that it last index is November 7, 2025. So let me dig further into this BRP stack and see why it is awesome. So I also have a sandbox deployed on demo.paideia.lms.com. It is still early stage. You can see that the UI, it is very primitive. I use React and Maintain UI because Maintain UI, it has a lot of pre-built components. I can use it. I can style it prettily using the theme object. I just don't bother to do it now because I want to validate my idea first and see if this project can go far. Let me show you the UI rendering and the authentication. So I will just log in a simple account. So you can see that authentication works, the server side rendering work. Well, you can check the source code to see the server rendering work, but the client rendering is definitely working. I use a React router here. You can see that this is like the XY flow. This is the curriculum map. People can see prerequisites, can see the required course, they can see the future course, they can see the current course. All the routing works. This is the admin, so I can have the admin panel and all that stuff. In this node management system, I use TipTap. So since I use TipTap, the client-side rendering must work, right? And I can have syntax highlighting, Mermaid, D2 support. I just stuff so many features into one single binary. So this is absolutely awesome. And with this screenshot, you can also see the CLI mode. Okay, let's go to the code and see how it actually works. Everything starts in this file, this server/index.ts, and basically what it does is that it initializes a payload local API. By default, if I just run the server binary with no arguments, it will just start server. So you see that there's server. This binary also has like a CLI mode. If I use it with arguments, it will perform different actions. For example, I can check the migration status. I can check I can ask it to perform a migration. So this is absolutely awesome. What it does here in the start server, it initializes a payload instance and then it runs the seed during development. If it is not development, it will auto apply the migration. So in the backend, it is an Elysia server. In the front end, it is an Elysia server as well. This app actually use a dual server architecture with in one app. When you start the binary, it would run two servers at the same time, one backend and one front end. But the front end actually is the React router. So technically, yes, it is two separate servers. So what it does here is that in this React router, I use the React router plugin. I put the payload into the context. I also put the backend Elysia. I put this instance into the context, and also I put the other information, other pre-calculated informations into the context. For example, like the bun version, the platform information, and all that stuff. So you see that in this backend instance, I have the Elysia Open API integration. So by using this integration, it just generates all the Open API documents. In other projects, you can generate a TS client very easily using this OpenAPI.json. It also gives me a Scala OpenAPI page where I can demonstrate my OpenAPI very easily to other people. And you see that here, you see that below the start server, I have the commander program, and then it have different command. So basically this part handle the CLI functionality. It has help, it has server, it has migrate, it has status, the migrate status, the migrate up, the migrate fresh, the migrate dump, all inside one single binary. I feel like people don't give Payload CMS, especially the Payload local API, enough attention. It builds on top of Drizzle to handle the schema generations. It handle the migration. It also handle the access control. It handle the job queue. Let me show you the job queue. So in this payload config, I'm using Postgres here. So I have many collections here. I have 27 or 28 collections here for now. It supports different email provider. For example, like the node mailer. If you have SMTP, you can provide the SMTP information, or it also supports resend out of the box. So by using Payload local API, I can just have access to all these in just one file. I can handle all these database collections. I can handle the schema generation. I can handle the email configuration. I can handle the search. I can do full text search. I can handle S3 storage. I can handle the cron job and also schedule job, workflow, and all that stuff. So in just one file, Payload local API give me access to all these technology, which will be very difficult to implement separately. But Payload is just such a beautiful technology, and I'm surprised it integrates so well with Bun, because as known, Payload only officially and natively supports Next.js. I'm not a big fan of Next.js. I would say I hate Next.js because it is overly complex, it is over-engineered. So I'm also a little bit confused or disappointed with the choice that Payload made when they just support Next.js. But anyway, I figured out a way to put Payload with React router together, which is using Payload local API. And originally, I thought if I'm using Payload, I have to give up the single binary compilation, which I don't want, because the whole point of the Paideia LMS is to make it super easy to deploy single binary is a must. If I introduce some technology and I have to give up the single binary compilation, I would rather not including that technology. If payload force me to use Next.js, or if it doesn't compile to single binary, I would rather use Drizzle directly. I would rather like implement all these features by myself. It is not that difficult anyway. But turns out it can. Turns out I can put Bun, React, and Payload all together into one single binary, and it just work. So I choose Payload, and I doesn't need to handle all these things, the job, the like database migration and all that stuff. So yeah, I believe this project is the first project and probably the only project until now to really use this stack and put this stack together. So if you want to learn more, just go to PaideaLMS.com and look at the code base or check out the deep wiki. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching.